A few years ago, I suffered an anxiety attack. It wasn't my only one, to be sure, but it is the one that sticks out in my mind. My signature attack, if you will. I'm grateful that I sat down the next morning, put my fingers on the keyboard, and recorded the experience, and I'd like to share those words with you this evening. My husband's not answering his phone. I know he's probably in a meeting, but I'm desperate to talk to him. More desperate to talk to my kids even. To hear their voices, which always sound so much smaller and innocent over the phone. I feel ashamed that Daddy took them to work today so Mommy could get a break. Grateful and ashamed. Last night I had an anxiety attack, a bad one. This one must have been stalking me for a while because it came up behind me when I wasn't looking and grabbed me around the neck and shook me violently. It took me a good 30 minutes of heaving sobbing before I could even stop enough to form words to explain to my husband what was wrong. My life is a contradiction. I am a mother, and I have anxiety over motherhood. When I was born, my mother placed me for adoption. She was 20, in college, and wasn't interested in having kids, which I get. I was with another family for several months before, in the end, I was returned back to her and my father, who ended up marrying each other on the same day I was baptized. My memory of my life as a small person was that she wasn't at all happy being a mom. Being my mom. Now that I know the background of her own childhood, which is not my story to tell, I understand why. Still, it stings my soul in an unending way that I cannot describe. I am very happy being a mom. My kids are, shoot, now the tears are streaming down my face again. My kids, they are beauty. They are the swelling of my heart and the joy of my life. They are the manifestation of God for me. With my eyes and their dad's sense of humor, there is no greater accomplishment in my life than bringing these two people into the world. No awards or top mom blog this or anything, nothing. When I say I'm overwhelmed by motherhood, I suppose that's a mischaracterization. I'm overwhelmed by my childhood. I'm overwhelmed by desperately not wanting to have the same relationship with my children that I had with my mom. By wanting them to know and see and viscerally feel how much they are loved and cherished. I'm grateful that I've done well in that department. They know, and I am solid in my belief that they know. As someone with anxiety and an introvert, I do well having many hours of the day on my own. I sit in a quiet house with only the neighbor's damn yapping jerk hounds to disturb me, and I write. I answer email, I chat with people on Twitter. It's a comfort for me to have that peace for so long. And then, at 3 p.m., I eagerly drive off to the bus stop to see the world's most fantastic faces and spend the rest of the day fortified as I carry out my motherly duties. I generally do not have anxiety attacks. Only now, it's summer. They've been home for 2 weeks, and for 50% of that time, my husband has also been traveling. It's all me, all the time. I have no solitude in which to build myself up. Yesterday, I became overwhelmed, and it was nothing they did. Ask anyone who knows, they are quite something. Smart, well-behaved, hilarious. Not at all perfect, of course, but pretty damn awesome. My husband and I have had a small hand to play in that, but I also believe it's who they are. I lucked out. This anxiety attack, it's all on me, 100%. I look at the moms who celebrate summer, who have all sorts of plans and activities, who homeschool, who do crafts. They're like mom rock stars, and I feel ashamed, so ashamed and defective that I'm not them. Why is it so easy for them? Why do all of these things come so naturally? What the hell is wrong with me? And then I have an anxiety attack. And my husband shoos the children off to the playroom, and he sits with me and holds my hand and assures me that I'm the most amazing mother, and he's so glad that he married me and we had our 2 amazing children together. He explains to me that I am looking at motherhood as math, doing X plus Y equals Z. When it's not math, it's music. There's no correct equation for doing it right. There are infinite combinations of notes that will lead to an artful outcome. Eventually, I calm down. I know he's right. Not only that, but he's just offered one of the most lovely explanations of motherhood I've ever heard. Now it's the day after. My eyes are practically swollen shut, and I still feel the remnants of the migraine that was caused by this attack. I woke up at 10 a.m. and I'm still exhausted. I'm embarrassed and ashamed. I know, nobody knows better than me. This is not my fault. I have an illness. It's called anxiety. There's no shame. Yet if you've ever had one of these attacks, you know what I mean. It feels ridiculous afterwards. So much energy expended for what feels like stupid reasons. There's only one difference between this moment and the time 9 years ago when I went through postpartum anxiety. Before, back then, I believed the real me was the person filled with anxiety, the person who was and would always be ill, the person who was not and would never be fierce. I was never going to be loved by my children, and I would never be a good mom. I believed those things. Now, I'm awaiting the moment when I go back to feeling like the real me. It might be later today. If not, it will be most certainly tomorrow. I'll go back to feeling strong and fierce, and as though the ground I'm standing on is not buckling. This right now is not me. This thing is the thing that tries to deter me. I will allow it a few minutes to do that, but then I will go back to me. I am a good mother. I am making beautiful music.